tie up some jigs. You're gonna tie up some little like bullet style swim jigs, and we are going to tie these bad boys up. See a little crawl pattern on the little bullet style jig. Not a lot of things we're gonna use in here. It is basically some black chenille, some rubber legs, a little tiny piece of brown foam, and 2 rooster tails. And then for the eyes, it's a piece of like plastic jewelry necklace. So that is what we're tying. Pretty sharp. I'm pretty sure something will bite that. I did have another crawl. It was a little bit more intricate, and I thought just for time's sake, I can crank out a few of those. Here is the other one, and he is just a beast. Look at him. That's a nice looking crawl. This one takes quite a bit to get done. And I figure for time's sake, these are easy. You guys are used to small little jigs like that. You could probably just use the round-headed jig if you wanted to. But we're gonna tie these up. Really easy and simple, and man, you can bounce these off the bottom, or you can just kind of skim them off the bottom. All right, thread, I'm using like an olive 3/0. Now this jig has a collar you can see here, so what I'm doing is I'm actually gonna tie the feathers under the collar. And so for the feathers, for the claws, essentially, which are going to be these little claws, they are just 2 small little rooster hackle. Little tiny guys. You can make them as large or as small as you want. Now, we are going to trim these down, so they do need to be a little bit longer than what you need, so you can kind of extend them. It's about probably the double the size of the entire jig is what I got there. We're going to do these one at a time, and I do set them up so they are like at a 45-degree angle to the jig. Now to get them to flare out, I take one tie and I go under, maybe a couple ties, go underneath the feather. And if you crank down on it, it'll set that, you can see it sets that claw out just to the side a little bit. Get our second feather. I don't like the color of that one. It's kind of light. Here, let's go with this one here. There we go. You know, that claw doesn't match either. That's more like it. Now you can see we got our claw set up there. You can see what I do is I take the thread and I go under that for 1 or 2 wraps. When you tighten down on that a little bit, it helps the claw to flare out just a little bit. I'm going to come around and I'm going to trim this off the back ends of the hook or the feathers. There we go. Now you can see we got those 2 flared out right there. Looking fantabulous. All right, the next thing we do after the claws are the eyes. Now, what I use for those is this is Hobby Lobby, like costume jewelry. You can pick any color you want. The last one I did was silver. I say, let's use black this time. Or red, sorry. And it's important, you gotta get the correct costume jewelry. This is the kind where when you snip the line, they don't come out, which means each individual little ball on the necklace is tied together. And that's important because when you cut it off, essentially you want two eyes that stay connected. You can see we got our eyeballs set up right there. And just give this some figure 8 looping. Make sure they're straight. What's going on, Jeff? Now, what I do here is once I've got a few good wraps in, what I do is I go around the eyes. And what that does, without going around the hook shank, and what that does is it tightens up those knots that I already put in there. So now we got two eyeballs. We'll do a few more wraps behind it. Now on the one I made, I didn't make it quite as fancy, but this one I feel like I'm gonna go a little bit extra. A little bit extra. All right, so we're gonna make antennas for this guy. So we're gonna use just whatever, I think the thicker the better. I've only got 6 pound laying around here, so just take some regular fishing line. We're gonna tie it in at the halfway mark. And then basically we're gonna take those over, like in between the two eyeballs. So you see I got the monofilament between the two eyeballs here. And I tie that in, I'm gonna go back and forth, back over the eyes, give it a couple more figure 8s. And those are gonna be two little antennas, and we're gonna spice them up even more after I'm done. I'll show you guys what we do here. All right, now for the body. This is just this little craft chenille. Super easy to use. You only need a few inches of this. I think that's gonna be too much, but it's easy to hang on to. So we're gonna start this just behind the eyeball. Tie that in, and then I'm gonna advance the thread to the right at the base of the weight there. And you're just gonna take some progressing wraps until you get all the way up to meet the weight. And then just go ahead and trim that off. I like to trim a little extra because this chenille is really soft, so you can see what we're going on there. And then just really crank that down. This stuff's really soft. And then this is where I like to add the legs. I think the rubber skirting works pretty well. So I'm gonna use a little bit of rubber skirting. I'm gonna use, let's see, 4 strands. I'm gonna turn this upside down because I want to tie this into the bottom. Now, I'm not going to cut those just yet. I'm actually going to take a little, where's my clippy clip? Take a little clip and we'll pinch those out of the way. I don't want to trim those yet because they're going to get in the way of tying the knot out. Lastly, we're going to take a piece of little 2mm foam. And I would say, I don't know, I like to cut mine maybe 3/4 of an inch by maybe a couple inches. We're going to trim most of this excess off. So you start with a little piece of foam here, about the half size of a finger, and then you can just trim out the shape of a tail. So essentially we're just going to curve that in. So All right, so now you've got that little shape. And then I'm gonna position this so it just comes past the weight. So you can see on the top side there, right about there is where I'm gonna position that. Because we're gonna put a little glue on that and then we're gonna kind of wrap it down over that. Now this foam you do have to be a little gentle with because it is 2mm foam. And if you crank down too tight on it, you can cut it. So instead of doing a bunch of heavy cranks, I'm just gonna give it 5 or 6 wraps. Now here's the design I like to do with this is now that you've got that tied on, we don't want this flared up, right? We want it to sit down. So I'm gonna take this back a little bit and I'm gonna create almost like a little body segment. So I'm gonna take that, fold it over. Right, and then we'll end up trimming this piece off. I mean, this could be like a good mimic of a shrimp, a little tiny craw, a horsefly. Ooh, I broke my string. See, if you're not cranking hard enough, you're not cranking at all. No worries. Thread that back through. All right, trim that off and then take the body, trim that down, and then we'll just give that a few more cranks to take that excess foam and kind of push it down in there. I swear. I knew better than to use 3/0 thread. This stuff's a little delicate and I was cranking on this a little hard. Under pressure. All right. Now we can whip finish. And then we will put the finishing touches on this shrimp slash crawl slash little buggy boy. All right, before we glue that down, I'm gonna do the finishing touches on the legs. I don't like these legs to be too long, so there we go. You guys can see just below the hook shank there. Now for the claws, we want to get that nice claw shape. So what you're going to do here is you're going to take a little bit of the feather, and you're going to pull it back. Then we are going to trim that off. Right, so now you're left with that nice claw shape. I'm going to match up the exact spot that I did on this one. Try to at least pull that back. Now when you brush that forward, you got 2 nice looking claws. How about that? Almost done. We are going to, okay, so you guys remember I tied in that monofilament line, right? So here's where you got to be careful. Take those feathers out of the way. Take your lighter and you're gonna just melt those down a little bit, and then you get those nice little dots. You probably see it against my shirt. Nice little dots. like a real antenna has. That's the spice you need to add into your lures, I'm telling you. I'm not sure the fish is going to care, but it looks good. All right, so we are going to also, let me get my Post-it note so I don't draw on myself. Take those two little antennas. I'm going to lay them on a Post-it note here. And then just like regular antennas, we're gonna take and we're gonna put little stripes on them. So I'm just making little dots. And that adds a little bit of realistic. Oh, you can probably see it better against my shirt, maybe against that. See how that makes the antennas look nice and realistic? All about the details. All right, lastly, we're going to take a smidge of super glue. Put this back in the vise. Lift that old piece of foam up. This doesn't need a lot with that gel glue. Take that and just hold him for about 15 seconds and he will be totally locked in. Hey, if you're watching here, give me a thumbs up. If you have any fly tying groups, go ahead and share it in the group. I would appreciate it. If you're not subscribed and you're watching, I would appreciate you subscribing. We are gearing up for some spring action. Look at that. All done. So now we have got a little crawl that you can work on the bottom or you can swim it. It's basically a little bullet style swim jig. That's all we got, 1/8 of an ounce. 2 rooster tails up front. Necklace eyeballs. Little skirting for the legs. Some black chenille for the body and a little piece of foam for his little crawl tail. What do you guys think? Thank you, Jeff, I appreciate it. See. Yes, it is. Sorry, I didn't have my comments up. I don't know why. It's a waxed monocord 3.0, so it's a little brittle for some reason. I just wanted to use the olive because I thought it looked good against this. For the rest of them, I think I'm going to use my my 210 denier, which is a little beefier, a little sturdier of a thread. So I'm going to switch this out for the 210 denier. It's a little bit stronger. Probably won't have any breakage issues with this. All right, let's tie up some more. These are fun to do. So we've got a bullet swim style jig, 1/8 of an ounce. Let me get my bobbin threaded. Where's my threader? All right, so we're starting this one just under the weight. And for this tie, we start off, fix my camera view there. Start off with 2 rooster feathers. These are small little rooster hackles. You can see they're about finger sized. And I just like to pick out 2 that kind of match each other. I don't think the color really matters. I am gonna go lighter on this crawl because I wanna just have the difference of having the light or natural colored crawl that I just tied, and then maybe some whiter looking crawls. Maybe the fish will be in the mood for snapping at some of those light looking crawls. All right, so here's how we tie this on. You can see it's just at an angle there, and I do like to take a couple wraps under the feather and then tighten it down. I feel like that just gives it a little bit more of like a tighter angle. It pushes that feather out just a touch and keeps it locked into that like 30-degree angle. Trim off that excess. Same thing with the other feather. We're just going to position it so it's like that. The only thing I'm being careful about in this part here is making sure that the length of the two crawls are even. And, you know, that might not be as important because we are going to trim those down into claw shapes. So you can see I go around the feather for a wrap or two and just give that a light little crank down. That's got our nice position for those claws. All right, so we can tighten that down, trim away our excess of the feather. And now we're ready for the eyes. Somebody shout out a color of eyes you want. We got red, white, and blue. What's going on, Sly Fox? Steve, what's going on? Casey, what's happening? Who else is in here? Jeff, Joel, what's going on, guys? Thanks for joining in here. I do need some cardinal blue jay feathers. Those would be nice. I don't know how pliable those are. I know rooster feathers are pretty known for being very soft and supple and pliable. I've got some, you know, duck feathers I found. Oh man, who gave me those? Brian Slayton, Creek Crawler. And the duck feathers are nice and colorful, but they're not supple. Well, at least the ones that he gave me. Those are more like, I think, the wing feathers or whatever. But these rooster hackle are really, really, really supple, and they twist around the hook really well. Red, I see a red. All right, we're going red eyes, just like the last one. All right, so we got a couple red eyes there. So these I position really right up against the collar. So you can see this has a collar, so I'm putting the eyes right there. Well, got a big old fat finger. Right there against the collar. That way they're kind of locked in place. They won't scoot around or move around. And here is a trick for tying in eyes, you guys. Once you've got a couple figure-8 wraps, go around the top of the eyes. And what that'll do, and then just give it a crank there, that will tighten in those eyes from moving around. All right, I did like that idea of the monofilament, so I'm going to do that again. So you can take, I think the thicker the better. Man, I wish I had some 20-pound laying around here. I think it's all in the trunk of my car. Anyway, because I think the thicker line would actually it would be less pliable, so it would look like I don't know, look like better antenna. All right, so we're taking a small little section of, I don't know, maybe a 6-inch section of the antenna or the mono. And I'm gonna just tie that in at its halfway point, right behind the eyeballs. And then I'm gonna do some figure-8s. So basically we're stringing them through the eyeballs. A couple more figure-8s there. So now you can see we've got the, if you can see it maybe against my shirt, now we've got a couple antennas sticking out there. All right, after you got the antenna on, now we're gonna make some body color. I'll let you guys pick the body color. For the chenille, we got the straight black, we've got red, we've got like an orange, we've got white, we got a chartreuse, and we got a pink. Oh, so here's all our body colors. I'll let you guys be the judge. What color body of the crawl should we do? We go pink for a shrimp, straight up white, black, red, orange, or chartreuse. Call out a color. When I was younger, I used them and would use something and roll over them a few times to soften them. Absolutely, absolutely. Chartreuse. I hear you, Steve. Take a little section of this. Chartreuse it is. So we're going to start that right behind the eye. We'll do orange on the next one. All right, once you get the chenille tied in right behind the eyes, just advance the thread up to right at the base of the weight. And then we're just gonna make wraps around that collar. Until we get right up to the base of that weight. And then we're gonna take our thread and wrap it. Ooh, don't go over the hook eye. There we go, cut that excess away. And just tighten that down just a bit. All right, now legs. Same as before, just a few strands of the, it's just rubber skirting. Oh, they all came apart. That's okay. All right, flip the bad boy upside down. We're gonna tie these in right about halfway. Do a few wraps behind and in front. And then we're gonna clip those out of the way. If I can grab them all. There we go. Those clipped out of the way. Now we're gonna go foam. All right, I got a lot of options for foam, guys. Oh, let's see. We did brown on the last one, which is a pretty natural color for crawls, but we've got all these colors. I've got forest green, I got the natural tan, I got black, I got blue. What did Paul just say? Look who trimmed up that beard, getting ready for some springtime missions. You know it, sir. Listen, the beard was getting out of control, sir. All right, brown. Somebody call out a color here. I don't know why my comments keep disappearing. Brown, blue, gray, pink, tan, light blue. I hear this one. This one. Which one? One or two? I don't know. I got two blues. I got the light, like a kind of a baby, like a North Carolina blue, well, and then like a teal. Get these out of here. All right. So about 3/4 of an inch. Oh, teal. Got you. 3/4 of an inch by about 2 inches maybe. All right. Small piece of foam, and then you're going to take this and we're going to cut our tail shape. So we're just going to slide in, do the other side. Just so you've got like a little tail shape there. It's not very symmetrical. All right, a little better. The chenille I bought at a craft store, like just a dollar craft store. It came like a pack of like 8 colors for $1 or something like that. It was really cheap. You can get these from the fly tying shops. This is just basic craft chenille, right? So it's not made for fly tying. So when you cut an end off of it, the fuzz does come out. So those ends you really have to tie down. Now they do make a really fancy chenille that comes on a thread for your bobbin. And so you can buy those. Those are probably $6 a roll per color versus buying 7 colors for $1. So those are the 2 different kinds of chenilles you can buy. You can also buy really, really fancy chenille that come in like dubbing brushes for making nice body hair on the bugs. All right, so here's how you want to position this. I'll turn it this way so you can see it. Is just past the weight. And that's where you want to position it, right? I'm going to hold that down. And I'm going to turn this towards me so I can see what I'm doing here. Now, once you got that tightened in just a little bit, I'm going to take this and fold it back and create a little bit of a bubble there because I want to make another like body segment. Not much, but I want to create just a little bit of a character to his body. And you're tying it in at the same point that you tied in the tail. I'm just making sure I get this symmetrical so you can see you've got another little body segment started there. So we'll give this 5 or 6 wraps and then come back and cut the excess foam off. And I like to really tie that excess foam down just a touch. All right, so now you've got that there. From this point, you can go ahead and tie off and create a knot. And there's two different kinds of ways you guys can do this. You can do it by hand, but if you're just getting started in fly tying, I would suggest learning how to use your whip finisher. Basically, you hook it around the hook and then behind a little loop. And then these have rotating handles, so then you flip it upside down. You're basically creating a triangle, right? So now you've got a triangle. And you take that triangle and you take it around the knot and you spin it around. Oop, I got behind my hook eye. I don't want to do that. Let me see what I'm doing here. Don't want to get in front of that jig eye. That was almost disaster. So 3 rotations there and then pull it free. Then we can snip off our thread and then fancy this guy up just a touch. All right, so first things first, let's cut these legs. Yeah, look at that. Now we're gonna shape the claws, right? So here's the way to shape the claws, and I'm gonna try to get this so you guys can see. To shape the claws, I like to go, because this is gonna be swimming this way, so I don't want short strikes here. So I only want them about maybe the hook shank length away is where I want those claws to kind of start. So what you do is you take one of the claws and just brush back the feather fibers. And then we will find the scissors. Take that and then just snip that off. Now, the important thing is you do want to try to get this pretty cleanly. And if you do it right, pinch all those fibers out of the way, what you're left with is a nice looking claw shape. Right, so I'm going to pinch that second one right about where I did the other one, pull those fibers back, and give that a little snip snip, and then brush that forward, and you're left with little claw shapes. All right, now we're going to do the antenna. You can see, it's kind of invisible here. You guys can see a little antennae. I'm going to take these claw feathers and just kind of hold them out of the way real quick, because we are going to do a little trick with our lighter. So you can see the monofilament there. We're going to take that and we're just going to burn it down to create the little nubs on the end of the antenna. Where'd the second one go? There we go. What that does is just creates little dots on the end of the antenna so it looks more realistic. You guys see that against my hat maybe? I need to wear a darker shirt or a different colored shirt for these tie-ups. Here we go. So, and what I like to do with these antenna is just take a little notepad and then get my black Sharpie out and lay them against the notepad, and then just make little dots. Because antennas not only have little dots on the end, but they've got a nice little stripe pattern. So now you can see they look like actual antenna. All right, lastly, the tail. We're going to lock that tail down, but we are going to do that from the vise. This guy's looking very tropical and shrimp-like. I love it. All right, touch of super glue, just a little teeny tiny bit. Lay that tail down, and we're just going to hold that there for a second. Risen Fly Shop is 2 miles down the road from me. I am new to fly tying, so I'm curious about stuff. Have to do a video using these lures you tied up this winter. Absolutely. In fact, I have got a box labeled flies that I have just got stacked, ready to go. I've got some of my Dragonfly lures. I really love this one, this Dragonfly with the rooster tail. Love that guy. I have got some, oh man, I tied up a really funky one the other night that I posted. Look at this guy on a big bass hook. I call this one the animal from Muppets. Look at that. He's gonna be smalley hunting. This is made from deer hair. This one takes quite a bit to put together and then shape, because you have to take a razor blade and shape that head like that and leave him with like this lion's mane. Oh, and then we have our cicadas. One of you guys asked for cicadas. So we've got our cicada flies. I made a couple of those. And quite a few little foam bugs, just like little foam ants. So yes, absolutely, we will be taking all of these in our to-go box with us. Let's tie up one more. I'll let you guys pick out the ingredients. Oh, here's what we came up with this one. Check him out. He is very shrimpalicious. Check him out. Looking spicy. Man, his tail came out. Oh, it came unglued. We'll fix that tail up so it's a little bit more symmetrical. So basically this will swim this way, like a normal crawl will. So they're gonna be chasing these. That's why I wanted something very soft and supple out in front. Now you can do a more complicated version of this with what's called a Zonker Strip, which is essentially rabbit hide. This one is a little bit more intricate. You can see I've got foam segmented bodies, and this is on a big bass hook. And then we've got small weights up front, and then a little bit larger lead weight in back with a little tiny tail. I think if I were to retie this, I'd probably make that tail a little bit longer. But there's another craw. Those take a little bit more intricate time. I was playing around with that one, and it took me like 30 minutes to like figure out what I wanted to do for the body and everything. I still don't think I'm 100% happy on that. Well, color me impressed. Martha Stewart of fly tying. Yeah, not too bad. I think these are going to be fun. Paul from Cincy Fish Dudes will definitely be the recipient of a few of these flies. We fish together so much. I'm telling you what, smallmouth better beware. All right, like before, we are starting off with two rooster feather hackle. These are small 4 to 5 inch feathers. And I tell you what, they are absolutely perfect for tying in these claws. I'm gonna get two that are fairly similar in like color and shape. I love that these have a lot of variation because you can see some of them are almost striped. All right, red or brown chenille, brown tail. I hear ya. I hear ya. All right, got my feathers selected. I like these. These two both have a little bit of striping action going on. I think I've got two feathers there. I do. There we go. That's how small these things are. Those don't match. I threw the good one back in the box. What happened? All right, one. All right, those are better. Ooh, I'm getting all kinds of requests here. I don't have black eyes. Well, no, I guess I do. All right, I've got tiny, tiny black eyes. You can see the difference in size of the red, white, and blue. I'll let you guys pick. Whatever gets the most votes here. Let's start off with the eyeballs. I've got, well, silver, blue, and red, and black. I've got one vote for silver, one vote for black. Who else has said anything? I can't remember. Okay. One for silver, one for black. What do you guys think? Throw me out some eye colors. Is there a way to keep my comments up? I just got to keep swiping. Sorry if I'm shaking the phone. Black. All right. Black it is. We'll try those out. These are a little bit smaller. I didn't tie my feathers in. Jumping the gun. All right. We got the black eyes ready though. All right, let's get our feathers going. Just like before, we're gonna take a wrap or two. You know what, I'm gonna put a half hitch in there to keep that from squirreling around on me. There we go. That's much better. All right, claw number 1. You can see we got claw number 2 going in. Put a half hitch in there. The half hitch essentially is just you're taking one loop, doing a twist and pulling it over, and that'll help your thread from kind of getting squirrely on you when you want to make an underpass. So I'm going to go under that feather. There. So now we've got them angled perfectly. All right, now the eyeballs. These are little teeny tiny eyeballs. I kind of like that. Oh yeah, these actually might be perfect. All right, I think the black eyes are the jam. Yeah, look at those. See if I can show you guys better. Look at those. Those are clutch. I like those eyeballs. Now those I did buy. See, these are expensive bug eyes that I bought from Allen Fly Fishing, but these also are lightly weighted, so they do have a little bit of weight to them, which I don't need for. I mean, it's only 1/8 of an ounce jig, but not going to make that big a difference for us. All right, who said chenille? Someone said. Let me go back in the comments here. Who said chenille color? Red or brown chenille. All right. Red or brown. I don't have brown. So red it is. All right, we got red chenille. Going in right behind the eyeball. And then advance that thread, once you have it tied in, right behind the weight. And then we're just going to walk that chenille around to create the body. Whoops, I let it go. When we get to the end, we're going to do some inside wraps. You can make foam eyes using the same technique as the mayfly dragonfly bodies. That's a good idea. Ah, I forgot to put my antenna in. Oh well. This will be an antenna-less. That was only for fancy fun anyway. We're not going to forget the legs though. You know what? Let's see. I'm going to go chartreuse on the legs because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Chartreuse. So we're just going to grab, what, 3 strands? 3 strands. 3 strands of chenille. This is just rubber skirting that you'd find on any old jig. You can buy this stuff super cheap. Flip our jig upside down here. We're going to tie in right at the halfway point, right at the base of the weight. Get a couple ties in, and then we're going to grab our rubber skirting, and it's Probably easier if I do it this way. Pull it forward a little bit. All right. You can see how this stuff gets in the way when you're tying, so you got to kind of clip it up and out of the way. All right, foam tail time. Let's see, does anybody say anything about a... Hey, what's going on, Brian? I was just talking about you, bud. So, okay, all right. Okay, so foam body, guys. I'll let you guys pick. Here's the foam colors we got. We got brown, pink, gray, natural tan. I'm kind of digging this. Solid black, forest green, all white, bright yellow, light blue, and teal. Throw out your colors. I will tie the one that gets the most comments. Also, guys, if you are watching, give me a like. I got 6 people watching and only 5 likes. Hit that like button for me, please, and thank you. I hear tan. I hear black. Tan and black. Those are my leaders. What do you guys think? Natural tan. I got 2 for tan. I think that's the winner. I like that because we haven't done tan yet. I have not even cut into this yet. All right, so here's what we do for that, guys. 3/4 inch, roughly, by maybe 2.5 inches. All right, so you got a little strip of foam. Then we are going to cut a little tail shape. There we go. Little crawl tail shape. So, like before, you want to position this. I like to put it maybe 1/4 inch right past where the end of the bullet weight sits. And that's where we're going to tie in. Now, this is craft 2mm craft foam from Hobby Lobby. The thing to be cautious about with the craft 2mm foam is you don't want to crank on it too hard because you can cut it. I've never cut it and I've cranked on this stuff pretty hard, but if you're really tightening down really tough, you could cut into it. All right, so once you've got that tied down, we are going to take this section and fold it back, but we are going to leave just a little bit of a bubble you can kind of see. And we're going to tie that directly at the same tie-in spot that we've been doing the tail, that we tied the tail in at. Just want to line this up and make sure everything is symmetrical here. All right, after we got that tied in, we can take this excess piece and cut that off. And then just give it maybe 7 or 8 little wraps just to cinch it down. And then here, we are ready to tie off our knot. So we're just gonna take our whip finisher and finish that knot off. The most important thing here is don't get caught in your jig eye. This is a little bit different than tying a regular fly hook. That jig has like an eye hole that is kind of positioned off center on this jig. So I did a couple practice runs and caught my thread on the back side of the jig eye. Not good. All right, now we're ready to dress them up, right? Let's take that off. I'm feeling a little bit longer legs on this, so I want to cut them a little bit longer. What do you think? Is that too long? I think that's too long. I think I was right the first time. Yeah, look at that. All right, next up, we're going to take care of the feathers. If you guys have been watching, how's Jen doing? Jen is doing great. She is feeling stronger and better every single day, and God bless that. He has been good to us. He got her through treatment, she's feeling better every day. Thank you for asking. All right, to make the claw shapes, here's what you do. We're gonna find a point, however long you want this claw to be, and we're gonna take and we're gonna pull all those fibers back. Right? And you want those fibers out of the way. They've got to be all pulled out of the way, because when you cut them, give that a snip. As long as you've pulled all those fibers out of the way, when you run it back forward, now look at that. We got a nice crawl shape. So basically take the second feather and try to match up the distance. Pull those fibers out of the way. Give that a snip. And then brush that forward, and now look at that. We got two nice claw shapes. I'm gonna finish this one up a little bit. Let me hold it here so I can see what I got going on here. There we go. Can we do a wine and tie one night? Absolutely. In fact, most nights I have my bourbon down here. Or do you mean together? I'm totally down with that as well. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about how you gave me those duck feathers, and I tied them up, and I was trying to get them to be supple like a hackle feather, but they're a little stiffer. So I need to use duck feathers in a different way. All right, we're almost finished with this. We got our two claw shapes. Look at that, looking saucy and beautiful against that blue. Look at that. Now we're gonna finish up the tail. So I'm gonna put this back in the vise. We're gonna take a touch of superb glue. This is the Gorilla Glue gel glue. Just need a touch there. We're just gonna contour that up, hold that to the contour shape, because I don't want it laying flat like this. I want the tail kind of, you can see, curved around. Just so it hugs the shape of that. And then look at that. Spicy as all get out. You know what? We're gonna make this a little even fancier. I'm gonna do a little bit of segmented body drawing on here. Ooh, that fine tip doesn't want to write. That side it is. Let's see if I can get this without looking too janky. What do you think? Spice it up a little bit? Not too bad. She looking spicy. I think I made a mistake with the Sharpie. Anyway, the bat, how's this gonna swim? Yeah, it's gonna swim like this. Backwards, like that. So he's gonna be chasing after these. How about that? And look at that, we are right at the hour mark, and that's what I wanted to give you guys, a nice hour of fly tying. Hey, if you're still watching this, write in the comments what you want to see below. I know you guys commented that you wanted to see like a cicada, and I tied one of those for you. I spent some time checking out how to make cicadas, and made a cicada for you guys. Oop, that one has an extra fly hanging on him. Look at that cicada. Paul, I will bring my stuff over and we will airbrush flies. I am absolutely about that. Paul actually has a nice little fish lab in his basement. Cicadas. And then someone else asked about dragonflies one day. So I thought, Gotta do a dragonfly. A topwater dragonfly made of foam. Look at that spicy. Ooh, a Helgramite fly. Bro, I'm on it. You know Helgies are my favorite. So we got the Dragonfly Flies, and these are the same feathers we used for the craw. And they work perfectly for a, oh yeah, that was Steve that asked for the cicada. I did a couple of them. One of them turned out better than the other. And then we got this from Pipe Cleaner. So I don't think this will float because it's got the pipe cleaner body to it, but look at that. Tell me he ain't friggin' spicy. What else could we talk? Okay. Oh, here's the other cicada. I just found him. I don't know. I think I like this one the best. Oh, his eyeballs are crooked. There we go. Look at that cicada. Looking killer. Yeah, so now the important thing is if you guys want to learn how to fly tie, I have kits for you for absolutely free. If you're not in Cincinnati, just pay shipping. I think it's like 14 bucks for me to get an envelope and then send this to you. It comes with everything, guys. It's not as nice of a vise as mine, but it does come with a vise, right? You're gonna get a vise, all the tools you need, and then some thread. It's just basic thread. It's not great, but it's just enough to get your beak wet and get you to learning how to fly tie, and then you can go out and buy a bunch of expensive supplies. You can go to Hobby Lobby or a dollar store and buy dollar stuff. I did one video, but I have got some other ones coming out. But you can tie from all kinds of stuff. So if you guys want one of these, hit me in a DM on, probably Instagram is best, on Matt's Fishing Mission. And I will send you one of these. I was blessed by a friend to give me one of these, or give me a ton of them, like literally 150 of them. So I want to give you guys these. And thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. We're moving on, man. We're moving up. I doubled from this point last year. I hit my 1,000 mark. So I got 1,000 this year, which was nice. I want to double that and get 4,000 by the end of this year. So I did a challenge where I tied with crap from the dollar store and I made these little bugs. This is from like fake flowers. This is from a chew toy. This was a balloon and a piece of tinsel. A fish is gonna eat this. It looks terrible, but a fish is gonna eat it. Look, a petal from fake flowers, 2 strips of balloon, some tinsel. It's not pretty. A fish is gonna eat it. I'm just saying you can go out and tie with anything you want. You can tie with stuff around the house. I tied a fly with my cat's fur. I didn't cut it off. I brushed her and took it out of the brush. But you can, like I found like this little duster. You can take this little duster and tie off and cut these little things out for like legs or body. It's almost like mini chenille. So, yeah. I'm ready to reclaim my title. Oh, yes. Actually, I know you mentioned you wanted to try to have it on the GMR. I do have to get with you personally since you are the defender of the belt. I think a GMR, if you guys don't know what he's talking about, there is an Ohio YouTubers fishing championship, bass fishing tournament that we did last year that Brian Creek Crawler whooped everybody and he got the belt. If you haven't seen that video, almost all of us that were in it put out a video about it. Yeah, I think GMR would be great. It's a nice long river. We'll probably pick a spot, like a stretch. We'll do like a 10-mile stretch and let people kind of go where they want to, and maybe even pick a spot that's got maybe a couple tribs, just so it's interesting. But yeah, we will set that up. I will. You know what? DM me on Instagram and shoot me your phone number, and I'll do that to you. And then we can have a little bit easier communication, and then we'll set something up. But yeah, anyway, guys, if you want one of these, because I'm going to jump off here. If you want one of these, hit me up on a DM on Instagram, or you can send me. If you don't have that, I've got an email. It's mattsfishingmission@gmail.com. You can hit me up there, or Facebook, or TikTok, or wherever you find me, hit me with a DM and I will get you one of these. I'm telling you, you guys want to tie flies. It is freaking exciting and it's fun to do and it lets you be creative. With that, I appreciate you guys watching. God bless, and I will see you on the next fly tying mission. See you guys.